Revelation chapter 14 is a significant chapter in the book of Revelation, presenting a series of visions and messages that contrast the fate of the righteous with that of the wicked. The chapter can be divided into several key sections. Before we start, we'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoy our video, please hit the like button. This will help us reach more people and create content for you. Now let's get started with today's video introduction to Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14 presents a series of vivid visions that encapsulate the ultimate fate of two distinct groups, the righteous, represented by the 144,000 who stand with the Lamb, and the wicked, who are depicted as worshippers of the beast. The chapter serves as both a warning and a reassurance, affirming the blessedness of the faithful while vividly portraying the wrath that will befall those who align themselves with evil. This dual focus underscores the binary nature of the choices humanity faces in the end times. The Lamb and the 144,000, Revelation chapter 14 verses 1 to 5, the chapter opens with a powerful vision of the Lamb, who is widely understood to symbolize Jesus Christ. He is seen standing on Mount Zion, a location rich in biblical significance, often representing the seat of divine authority and the place where God dwells with his people. Verse 1. John writes, "Then I looked, and behold, the Lamb was standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his name and the name of his Father written on their foreheads." This verse immediately introduces the central figures of the first vision, the Lamb and the 144,000. The reference to Mount Zion evokes a sense of victory and divine presence. The 144,000, mentioned earlier in Revelation chapter 7, are described as having the name of the Lamb and his Father written on their foreheads, signifying their divine protection and ownership. This mark is a stark contrast to the mark of the beast, which denotes allegiance to evil forces. The 144,000 are seen as the faithful remnant who have been sealed by God. Verses 2 to 3, "And I heard a voice from heaven, like the sound of many waters and like the sound of loud thunder, and the voice which I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps. And they sang a new song before the throne and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one could learn the song except the 144,000 who had been purchased from the earth." The sound described here, likened to many waters and loud thunder, suggests the overwhelming and majestic nature of the divine presence. The harps symbolize joy and celebration. The new song sung by the 144,000 is a song of redemption, a theme central to the book of Revelation. The fact that no one else can learn this song indicates that it is uniquely associated with their experience of divine salvation and victory over the forces of evil. Verses 4 to 5. "These are the ones who have not been defiled with women, for they have kept themselves chaste. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been purchased from among men as first fruits to God and to the Lamb. And no lie was found in their mouth. They are blameless." The 144,000 are described with qualities that emphasize their purity and faithfulness. The reference to them not being defiled with women has been interpreted in various ways, but many scholars see it as a metaphor for spiritual purity and faithfulness to God, rather than a literal reference to celibacy. The imagery of following the Lamb wherever he goes highlights their unwavering loyalty to Christ. The phrase "first fruits" indicates that these individuals are the first of many who will be redeemed, suggesting a larger harvest to come. Their blamelessness and truthfulness further emphasize their sanctity and set them apart as exemplary followers of Christ. The three angels, Revelation chapter 14 verses 6 to 13, following the vision of the Lamb and the 144,000. John describes the proclamations of three angels. These proclamations serve as warnings and declarations of impending judgment. First angel, verses 6 to 7, "And I saw another angel flying in mid-heaven, having an eternal gospel to preach to those who live on the earth, and to every nation and tribe and tongue and people. And he said with a loud voice, Fear God, and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come. Worship him who made the heaven and the earth and sea and springs of waters." The first angel is seen flying in mid-heaven, signifying a message that is universally accessible to all of humanity. The eternal gospel he proclaims is a call to fear God, give him glory, and worship him as the Creator. This proclamation serves as a final call to repentance before the onset of divine judgment. The reference to the hour of judgment emphasizes the imminence of this event, urging people to turn to God before it is too late. Second angel, verse 8, "And another angel, a second one, followed, saying, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, she who has made all the nations drink of the wine of the passion of her immorality." The second angel announces the fall of Babylon. a symbolic representation of a corrupt and idolatrous system that leads nations into spiritual ruin. The imagery of making the nations drink the wine of her immorality suggests the pervasive and intoxicating influence of this system. Babylon's fall is a recurring theme in Revelation, symbolizing the ultimate defeat of evil and the vindication of God's justice. Third angel, verses 9 to 11. Then another angel, a third one, followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast in his image, and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also will drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is mixed in full strength in the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. They have no rest day and night, those who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name." The third angel's message is the most severe, issuing a dire warning to those who worship the beast and receive its mark. The reference to drinking the wine of God's wrath, mixed in full strength, evokes the image of divine judgment being poured out without mercy. The torment described is eternal, with no respite, emphasizing the severity of the consequences for aligning with evil. The imagery of fire, brimstone, and the smoke of torment is reminiscent of Old Testament descriptions of God's judgment on the wicked. Verses 12 to 13. Here is the perseverance of the saints who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven, saying, "Write, Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, so that they may rest from their labors, for their deeds follow with them." These verses offer a moment of reflection, contrasting the fate of the wicked with the blessedness of the righteous. The perseverance of the saints is highlighted, affirming that those who remain faithful to God and keep His commandments will be rewarded. The blessing pronounced on those who die in the Lord emphasizes the hope of eternal rest and the lasting value of their deeds. The harvest of the earth, Revelation chapter 14 verses 14 to 20. The final section of the chapter depicts two harvests, symbolizing the gathering of the righteous and the judgment of the wicked. Verses 14 to 16. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud was one like a son of man, having a golden crown on his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, crying out with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, because the harvest of the earth is ripe." Then he who sat on the cloud swung his sickle over the earth, and the earth was reaped. The imagery here is rich with eschatological significance. The figure on the cloud, like a son of man, is widely interpreted as Christ, who is often associated with the title Son of Man in the New Testament. The golden crown signifies his authority and kingship, while the sharp sickle symbolizes the impending judgment. The reaping of the earth suggests the gathering of the righteous, who are ready to be brought into God's eternal kingdom. Verses 17 to 20. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, and he also had a sharp sickle. Then another angel, the one who has power over fire, came out from the altar. And he called with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, "Put in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters from the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle to the earth and gathered the clusters from the vine of the earth, and threw them into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out from the winepress, up to the horses' bridles, for a distance of 200 miles. The second harvest, led by an angel with a sharp sickle, represents the judgment of the wicked. The grapes of the earth, fully ripe, are cast into the winepress of God's wrath. A vivid in this chapter emphasizes the distinction between those who are faithful to God and those who align themselves with the forces of evil, culminating in a vivid portrayal of the final judgment and the consequences of receiving the mark of the beast. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.